Hi, welcome to Prayers Radio. I'm your host, Rich Jarvis. This is my co-host, John Waterhouse.
Hey, everybody.
This show is only about prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment in this philosophy. You got it, John.
We're going to have a great show today. We're going to have a conversation with a colleague who has a remarkably wonderful reputation in our movement. And I am really thrilled to have this time with her. Her name is Reverend Linda Finley. She is the senior minister and has been for 20 years at the Eugene Center for Spiritual Living. Prior to that, she became a practitioner and a minister in the last millennium. Uh, Accurate as
Back
it
in the
is.
1900s, yes.
Yeah, back in the 1900s. And then she founded Center for Spiritual Living Petaluma in Petaluma, California, and has a rich history in our movement. And just to add the novelty of this, in training to become a minister for 12 years, she owned and managed a bar. So she has exceptional training in working in spiritual community. And we are delighted that you're here with us today, Reverend Linda, and we'd love for you to give us an opening treatment.
All right. Well, I like to remind everybody the way to start is to stop. And so right here and right now, I stop everything that I've been doing and thinking, and I just be in the here and the now. I open my mind and I open my heart and I remember that I am one with all that is. I am one with the infinite power, the infinite possibilities that created everything, excuse me, out of itself. And what I know is I have everything I need to be fully and completely present in this moment, to hear and to learn what is mine to know. So I am grateful for the opportunity to share thoughts and ideas with colleagues and friends. I am grateful for the opportunity to be part of a discussion about prayer and to be hearing what I need to hear. I speak these words for everyone, and I trust and I know that as I let this go, everything that I require is here for me, and it becomes a divine done deal, as my friend Judith would say. And we let this go, as we say, and so it is.
So it
It
is.
is beautiful. Thank you
Wow.
very much.
That was fantastic. Hey, you have a book that you're self-publishing that you've put out to people that, people can contact you at her website is cslEugene.org for us spelling challenge folks sometimes like myself. And for people that are listening online right now that are just listening through Apple Podcasts or things of that nature. The book is called Soup for the Soul. And
it's called A Soup to Warm Your Soul.
Oh, see? See, she's passionate about that book. What is that book about?
Well, it's just a little, it's actually a booklet. It's only about 30 pages, but it is, I love to cook, and I've been doing for 3 years a Soup for the Soul, which is where you got that, each week with my community where I make soup and we discuss a spiritual principle. Well, they loved my soup so much they wanted the recipes, so I wrote a little history about how I started cooking as a young girl, and that soup is not as scary as a lot of people think it is, and to just giving everybody the basics and then a few basic recipes. It's a book I had been wanting to write for some years. I wanted to do a much bigger thing, but as a fundraiser for the center, I did it as a small little
That's cool.
thing, and I love it. It empowers people, and that's what my ministry is all about, is empowerment. So
You just a couple of other things. We looked on your site and you had all these different activities that you're doing. One of them is Gamers Night. And what was that one that you saw, John, that you thought was interesting?
Transmission meditation. Would you
What
tell us
is that?
about that?
well, actually, that is one of my congregants who was here when I got here 20 years ago, Bethel. And she is an incredibly spiritual being. And what it is she does it's kind of a world meditation. It is the whole idea that we are connecting with the source and sending the energy out to the world. So it's about peace and yeah, it's not broadcast. It's not any, it's something that she does at the center. And
That's lovely.
but it's a I like to empower my people to do things, give them opportunities to take their own passions and work with other people. And so
Is there anything else you'd like to add about yourself that our audience might find interesting? Which most of you, with everything you've told us, has been like, whoa.
I was an English major and a history minor. I wanted to be an interior designer when I was younger, and about 10 years ago I realized, oh, I am an interior designer.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
Well,
Very nice.
the first question we have is, how does prayer show up in your life?
Hmm. Yeah, we get a cheat sheet for those of you who are watching, and it shows up always. I mean, it shows up never as a last resort. I try to make it not, oh, there was an old story about someone who was told they needed to go to a practitioner to get what they wanted, and so they were talking, and so the practitioner said, I think it's time for, are you ready to pray? And the person said, oh my God, has it come to that? People tend to look at prayer as something that we do because we are desperate, and it actually needs to be the first recourse. It's for me, prayer is reconnecting, reminding myself that I am connected to the one. And that is the most important part of prayer. The most important reason for prayer is step 1 and 2. God is all there is, spirit is all there is, life is all there is, and I am part of that. And when I get that, then I can pretty much handle whatever's in front of me.
Mm.
Don't know if that's answering your question, but
Oh, that
that's
was good. That was excellent. So, Reverend Linda, would you tell us about your personal spiritual practice? What do you do to center yourself and moving into your day?
I get up every morning, and the first thing I do is make my bed. I
Wow. Okay.
totally and completely create a safe space for me to rest at night. I do my morning ablutions, brush the teeth, flush the hair, whatever, and then I go out into my living room and put on some mellow music. And I have a stack of books like this, that I pick up and begin reading one section in each book. Like some of them are daily reads, some of them are books with just a affirmation on a page or something. And then I go and sit in my rocking chair and do a 10-minute meditation, and set an intention for the day. One of the things, I got a book called Inner Fitness by a woman out of Southern California, out of Agape, and I've forgotten her name, and I apologize. But she's got a daily practice of setting an intention for the day. And it's my intention for myself is, and you write that out. And then I choose to be better at, I choose to be aware of, I choose to let go of, and I choose to trust. And I write those out in the morning. And then in the evening, I come back and evaluate the day. And it just fits on one page of a little notebook. And writing is very important to my spiritual practice as well.
What do you tend to do on that at the end of the day?
The end of the day is I write, I complete that. I write one sentence in a little notebook just about the day, about maybe what I've learned. And then I go
Nice.
in to the bed that I've made, the clean bed, and turn it down. And I write a thank you card to someone who has touched my life. You guys
Oh,
will
wow.
probably be getting one. And then I do a gratitude journal, and then I read a meditative book. And all of that takes like 20 minutes, and then I turn out the light and go to bed.
Wow.
But it's
That's
calming me at night.
I got it. I got it. And it's that level of discipline is really impressive.
Nobody's
That's
ever called me disciplined.
well, it sure sounds like discipline to me.
Well, there we go. Well, to me, no, it's self-care.
Well, it's that too,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's
But
it's
it would
it's
be easier just to pull the covers down, climb in and put them back up over you and be done. Good for you.
but it well, it's my brain is always going like 1,000 miles an hour. And so that's, I turn off the
Settles it.
TV an hour before I
Yeah.
get ready for bed. I come in, I play a little solitaire online, I slow myself down, and then I go in and do the gratitude work. But
Well, it must be working because as a senior minister, you're incredibly successful.
well, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I am enjoying the work, and I finally gave myself a sabbatical this year, so that's wonderful too.
Congratulations.
That is really cool. Hey, the triggering of the prayer. What triggers a prayer in your life? What is your practice? Something happens, bam. What do you do?
Essentially, for me, I will, okay, there's two things I do. That one is for a client or a congregant, and one is for myself. For myself, I drop straight into God is, I am.
Hmm.
There's nothing for me to fear here. It's just a for working with, if one of my people is needing help, if one of my people is needing assurance, just doing that isn't going to be that enough for them. They need the gentle rhythm of bringing themselves into the calm space. And so I will do a prayer, in an emergency. Because I mean, right at the end of church, I have had people come up and my dad just died. This just happened. I'm, something's going on. And I've got to be able to just at will drop into, okay, we're here now. This is it. And that's my I realized my thing, what I did at the beginning here, in order to start, we have to stop.
Hmm.
And it's just, okay, the story's going on, all the noise and all the chatter's going on. I stop. I breathe. And I am here now, because here and now is the only time I have. And so it's anchoring in the here and now, reminding myself that here and now I have power. Here and now I am safe. Here and now I can think and do. And that's to me the most important aspect of it is grounding, the grounding. Yeah.
Very nice. So you've been teaching for over 20 years this thing called spiritual mind treatment.
Yes.
Do you have any particularly novel or kind of different ways that you approach that topic that you have found over the years has really added to people's understanding of this process?
Well, for me, I remind them that our form of prayer, our form of treatment, our form is not about reaching out to, oh God, please, if you do this for me, I promise I will be good for the rest, blah, blah, blah. Treatment is about changing our own mind.
Exactly.
Universe is always saying yes, no matter what I say. If I stub my toe and say, "Oh, it's going to be a messed up day," the universe says, "Yes, my beloved, we can do a messed up day." You know, if so, I have to be very careful what I'm saying, and treatment is my way of convincing myself that this is
Exactly.
possible. I'm not convincing God that it's possible. I'm not convincing some source out there that's possible. I'm convincing myself. So the work that I'm doing is not to better reach the infinite. The work that I'm doing is to better reach me.
Mm, I
And
like that.
that's to
That's
me the whole
exactly what
essence
Holmes
of
said. He said the practitioner treats the practitioner, although not everybody understands what that
yeah.
means. And you
Yeah.
just described it perfectly.
Yeah, it's well, John, that is how I got my calling to ministry. I went to my very first Asilomar in 1994, and I was the only one. Everyone else from my center was in ministerial fourth year practice, was in their finalizing thing. So I was there all by myself with 1,000 people I'd never met before.
Right.
And when we'd have lunch or dinner or breakfast, we'd be talking around the table. And it was Tuesday morning, Tuesday just after lunch. And I realized every single time we went around the table and we're talking and discussing, people would say, "You have a way of explaining this so people get it." And
That's a
I'd only,
gift.
and I'd only been in the teaching 5 months.
Well, it
And
just came natural to you.
it was like I wasn't learning something new. It was like I was remembering what I already knew.
Very nice.
Mm.
And that's when I'm standing on the deck there and I go, "Oh my God." Well, actually I said, "Holy crap, I'm supposed to be a minister." That was my sacred call.
Well, hey, that's very clear call, bar talk.
So it had to get through the bartender, but anyway, anyway, the whole point of teaching this is to give people back their power. We give away our power so much, and treatment helps us take our power back.
Very nice.
Reminds us, there's only one thing going on here, one source, one substance, one life, one deal going on. And I'm here. So I'm part of that. So I have whatever it has.
Right.
Mm. So you're talked about the prayer and it changing and how people are looking at, even at 5 months, you had raise and praise, I like to call it. How have your prayers evolved over time? Where did you come from on this? Did you come from a Christian background? You said you owned a bar. How have they changed over
I
time?
was religion light. I was Methodist and Presbyterian. They no big dark, you can't do this, you can't do that. Just show up on Sunday and you're fine. And in high school, okay, I'm going to give some background here. In high school, I got I got my Bible, my Revised Standard Version, and I started reading the Gospels, and I read John. And I'm like 14, and I read, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and without the Word, nothing that is could have come into being." And I said, "I have no idea what this means, but I know it is the key to everything." At 14, my
That's brilliant.
brain said this. And so I went to my minister. "Well, Logos is understood to be the Christ." And I'm like, "No."
That's not it.
Over the years, and in college, I took Bible as literature, and a Unitarian minister said, "Well, it's generally understood to be the Jesus or the Christ." I'm like, "No." And then my husband and I worked cleaning churches, and this Mennonite minister said the same thing, and I go, "All right, never mind. I don't. I'd been in the teaching about 2 months. I was taking a class. I got home and someone had broken into my house. And after I called the police and got everything, I pulled out my Science of Mind textbook. I flapped it open to do some divination. Somewhere in the back there in the Jesus section, it says, "In the beginning was the Word." And we understand the Word to be the creative process in the individual.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay. Took me 30 years, but I found it.
30 years and a break-in.
Yeah, but it was it was as though when I first walked into the Science of Mind Center, well, we Religious Science Center in Visalia, it was like, oh my God, there's people who think like I do. I had no idea. I had never heard of it. I didn't know anything about New Thought. I had not been to a church since I was 18. And I ran into a friend that I hadn't seen in 10 years, and she invited me, and it grounded me. It immediately grounded me. And I'm giving you way more background information than you asked for, so we'll go back to
It's
people
great.
learn from this stuff because you have human beings that come to this show and they're like, what is this philosophy about? And you're speaking as a human being to them saying, hey, look, I tested this and used this and applied this, and this is my journey.
Yeah, it has it happens so subtly. I think that is the sneaky part of this is occasionally there is a divine revelation like that, like I open the book and I do the
Hmm.
divination and there it is and there's the answer. Ta-da! The heavens open and the trumpets blare. But essentially it just happens. I remember I'd been about 2 years in the teaching. And I'm thinking, I ought to be feeling some major changes. I ought to really be feeling different. All the work I'm doing, the classes I'm taking, what's going on. And I don't feel, and then one day something happened. I know it was within the first 2 years because I still owned the bar then. I sold the bar after 2 years. Something had happened and I was driving home and I went, oh my gosh, I have changed. If that had happened 2 years ago, I would have been so angry. I would have been so upset. I would have been so reactive. And it's just like, wow, they're being weird. It was, I went through, I said my brain is like this. I wasn't suppressing an emotion. It just wasn't there.
Lovely.
And to have that was my aha moment. Oh my God, I've changed. I just saw myself do something I didn't normally do. And it took me 5 minutes later driving down the road to realize what that had happened.
Because it was your new nature.
Yeah. And so
That's lovely.
it's practicing it. It's reading, it's learning, but it's not just keeping it up here. We have to mix it with the heart. We have to embody it. We have to integrate it. We have to be it. That's why at first I didn't like the change from religious science to Centers for Spiritual Living. Woo woo. But I tell my people, we are centers for spiritual living. We are not centers for spiritual contemplation. We are not centers for spiritual study. We're centers for spiritual living. We're here to live this stuff. We're here to embody it. We're here to be it.
We are. Yay.
Yeah, yeah, and so we do.
That's correct. That's correct.
Exactly.
The only person's mind that changes in prayer is our own. So
Yeah,
that's something that John talked about in a few other shows that with some of our other guests that a lot of people can't just get their hands on it. Um, your prayer specifics and what works in it, how you work the prayers. What do you find that works? Do you find a 7-step prayer works, or a 5-step prayer, or a
I
10-step prayer?
generally
I
do.
know there's no.
Early on when I was in my doubt and grief stage, I would adapt to a 7-step prayer. In international, we only had 5-step prayer, but I learned about 7-step prayer from a workshop one time. And there are times when that step of denial
Mm,
is essential. That I've got, if I go and I know this is true, and so it is, God, I hope that worked. I've immediately undone everything right there. And so I have to get the denial in. One time Kathy Ann Lewis spoke at our Asilomar, and when she was president of United. And she said, we don't do it nicely. We have to you have no right to be in my consciousness. Get out of here. And I said,
That sounds like Kathy Ann.
yeah. And I went, oh my God, that's what I need. I need to boot I'm 86ing this thought, and to use
That's
car
great.
lingo,
That's great.
But
Yeah.
it's we have to adapt. It's not okay. There's a lot of conversation going on about a new class that's teaching treatment can be anything. Well, I do ballroom dancing. There are specific steps in specific dances. In order to learn the cha-cha, you have to do specific steps. In order to do the rumba, you do specific steps. In order to do the waltz or the um, various different dances have steps, and you have to learn those rigid steps in order to learn. Then once you get it going, you can put them in any order you want and you can dance in any way you want. But if you are not doing the basic steps, you are not dancing. You're just waving your arms and moving your feet. And so I look at treatment the same way. We need to understand the basic steps because that is creating new neural pathways, that is creating ways in our mind for our mind to grasp and grok and get this stuff. And then once we are accomplished at it, then play with it. I can start with gratitude. Jesus started with gratitude. I mean, that's what you can go in any direction you want, or like with me, God is all there is, and I am one with it. Okay, I'm okay. We can do whatever we need to do, but we've got to assimilate and take in and truly understand the basics and what they're doing to help us reprogram.
And the
To
5 steps are a proven methodology.
Yeah,
So, it takes you logically from one step to the other.
right.
So, that's why we teach it that way.
Yeah.
So
It, it
I want to go back to this being a teacher. Have you ever in your career, I'm hoping you have, had someone come to you and said, I did the steps, I followed the design, I did what you taught me, it didn't work. What
mhm.
do you say to them?
It's working at a level we don't understand. It's working underneath the surface.
Yeah.
And if it isn't working, if you aren't seeing any kind of result, it is an indication from you that there is something inside you that is holding on to what is. And maybe we need to treat to remove the blockage.
That was lovely. You said that without making them wrong.
Yeah. No, they're not wrong. We've got these planted beliefs that are so deeply rooted inside of us. When I was in Petaluma, I had a beautiful woman who was there. And in the middle of this class, she said, "Oh my God." She realized that she'd been married, she'd put her husband through dental school, she'd done all this stuff. They had a kid. As soon as he got his practice going, everything he did pissed her off and she got a divorce. And she realized everyone in her family had always taught her that rich people were jerks and that they couldn't be trusted and you can't trust anything they do. And that came up for her, and that was why she got mad at her husband and left. And she said, she says, I didn't even know I knew that, but
That's quite a realization.
you
That's a
know,
good story. Thank you for sharing that.
that's why I can't retire. I'm sorry. I love those moments when people all of a sudden go, oh, I found it, because it's not our fault. It's not their fault. It's a story that got so implanted in us, and oftentimes it's buried. Dr. Holmes talks about the perfect idea covered by an apparently imperfect cloak. And some of us have layers upon layers of imperfect cloaks that we're wearing.
So
Beautifully
that
said.
it was wonderfully, and I liked it. I like the analogy. Hey, we're at the 5 minute mark, and we're going to shotgun the rest of these questions. So, how do you explain this philosophy to somebody that doesn't know anything about it? We're looking for your elevator speech.
Okay.
You said God is I am earlier, which I've done before, and somebody asked me that.
We believe that everyone and everything is sacred and worthy of our love and our respect. Yeah, even those people. We believe everything is connected, and it's all, the grass is sacred, the mountains are sacred, the people are sacred, the animals are sacred, the air is sacred, it's all sacred. And in doing that, we also believe that what we focus on grows and what we resist persists. And
Very nice.
that's us.
Nice
Beautifully.
encapsulation. So, what's your favorite Ernest Holmes book?
Very first one I ever got. I often say, please do not pick up the Science of Mind textbook first thing because it is so inaccessible. It is not, it is a series of talks. Once you read it, but Willis Kinnear and Ernest Holmes, A New Design for Living.
A New Design for Living, an excellent one.
It is a wonderful, accessible, uh, actionable book. And
It
you can
is.
read it and you get it and it gives you things to literally try practicing. So that would be my because you told me I couldn't say this thing called you because boy is that one good too.
Well, everybody would say that, or
Because
they give
everyone
it.
says that one.
Everyone says that one, yeah.
Yeah. And we actually had Jesse Jennings on his show 53, so he
Oh
actually spoke
God,
to
Jesse Jennings. Ah! I
him.
have never met him. I am so in awe of that
Really?
guy.
Yeah, he's something.
He's awesome. Hey, the your favorite Ernest Holmes quote, what would that
Ah,
be?
to forget the truth in the hour of need is to prove that you never really knew the truth. When you can
Yeah.
stick with it, I can't remember all the little words, but it's the one who stays with it who will ultimately produce the best results. Bottom of 282, top of 283 in the textbook, if you are interested. But
I
that
am.
that carried me through the first 5 years of Science of Mind. To forget the truth in the hour of need is to prove that you never really knew the
Yeah.
truth.
That's
It's
beautifully
brilliant.
said.
And the first time I heard that, it was attributed to Robert Bitzer. And when I read it in the textbook, I went, "Wait a minute,
Wait, I
that
was
was the
so
boss's line."
when I my first Asilomar was Robert Bitzer's last talk. He
Oh
died
my
like
God!
8 weeks later.
Wow,
It was
nice timing.
yes, I was so blessed.
So this the second to last question, and then John's got the final question. Different results. When do you release a prayer into law? I know the fifth step or the seventh step, depending on it, is when we release it. But what is your thoughts on that?
As it oh, it's taking your fingers, prying them off of the concept and letting it go. Quit thinking about it, quit messing with it. I have turned it over. One time, Ken Gordon one time said, "Have you made your demand of the universe?" I'm like, "Demand?" And then, as the English major that I am, I went back and I looked at the root word of demand. Demand is to take your hands off. Demand.
How
So,
about that? Oh, I
so,
didn't
so
know that.
the
That's
English
great.
language is so fascinating, but that's it's as long as we're still fidgeting with it, we are not letting it go. We're not giving it off to be actioned. We're still, oh, let me help. Let me think. Yeah.
It's funny you brought up Ken Gordon. He was on show 56 for our audience. We always circle back to all this because we're all connected and we all learn from each other on this
I
philosophy.
met him at my first Asilomar. He and
Oh, is
Deborah
that
had
right?
just opened Kelowna when I was,
Wow.
and
And,
and I met them at my very first Asilomar. It was I
and,
was blessed.
and Deborah was show 62.
Yeah.
All right. All right. You're showing off now.
I am because it's awesome because everybody it's just that one mind that circles around that we're actually
You would
going this
think there was
philosophy.
only one mind. We should look
Ah,
into that concept.
we should check that
Awesome.
out, really.
Go
So,
ahead, John. You
my
got the
last
last question.
question to you would be when you're doing spiritual mind treatment, when do you know that it's manifest?
That's such an ephemeral, ethereal. I don't know that
It
I have
kind
a
of
word.
is.
Uh, well, I have to go back to Dr. Holmes again. There's a place in me that says yes.
Hmm.
Nice. Very
There's
nice.
there's just there's a place that says yeah.
That's a
So that
beautiful answer. That's a perfect answer.
Yeah,
that
because
be oh go ahead.
it's just I don't have words. I don't have a step. I don't have how I get there. I don't know how I get there. but I know it's done when when there's a place in me that literally lets go. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. You can't force it, you can't manufacture it. It's just got to be there. And when it is, you know it. Good for you. That was nice.
What what takeaway would you want our audience to take away from this show?
You're more powerful than you think you are, and you have the ability to take your power back from whoever or whatever you've given it to. And when you turn within, you will find precisely what it is you're looking for. You are smarter than the average bear. It's you are, pardon my age sneaking in there, but yeah, that none of us really realize how singularly beautiful we are, how singularly smart, how singularly wise. Um, I want to weep sometimes when I see people who think they are so nothing, and what I see in them is such beauty.
Yeah.
Hmm,
And that's why you're a minister of the science of mind.
correct.
Very nice.
Would
Thank
Well,
you
you.
this
pray
is,
us out? Oh, go ahead,
yes,
John.
please.
Right here, right now. I speak for everyone within the sound of this voice whenever they hear it. In the I am that I am. I trust and I know that there is only one life, only one power, only one source, and it is operating in and through all of creation, so it's operating in and through me. So I take what I have learned, I take what I have understood, I take what has awakened in me, and I allow it to blossom. I allow it to grow. I allow it to inform my life. I allow it to guide me in ways that I had never before imagined, and I trust and I know that are good and very good. I give thanks for knowing that everything I need is already here for me. And I let this be and I let it go. And I know it is so, as we say together. And
And
so
so
it
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 is.
is.
is. Very
So
nice.
we thank Reverend Linda for being on the show. Again, she's at csleugene.org. And John, where can they find you at?
Oh, I'm all over the place. But you can find me regularly on a podcast called Higher Reality on the Edge of Understanding. And that's through Mystic Living Press on Substack. So check that one out,
And
along with come back and watch us again.
everything will be in the show notes. Go ahead, Linda. You had something else?
I was responding to John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Well,
Yeah, it
I'm
is. It's about the convergence of science and spirituality. We have some really interesting conversations.
yeah, there some of them are really trippy, by the way. I'll just plug that in there because I listened to some of it also. We are Prayers Radio. I am Prayers Radio. I'm Rich Jarvis, your host. Uh, just go to prayersradio.com, like, subscribe, and support us. You'll see a link on there. Donate if you choose to. And we will come back next week with a fun-filled adventure at Prayers Radio. And just remember, if you don't say a prayer, you ain't got a prayer. Everybody say bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Your